It's time for Security Now, and this is a very special episode. You're going to be glad you're here. We are at the Black Hat Conference in Las Vegas. Steve Gibson's here with questions from you, the audience. We're going to primarily talk about AI and security, and we've got some very special guests joining us. Security Now is next.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Security Now with Steve Gibson, episode 1090, recorded Wednesday, August 5th, 2026. Black Hat. It's time for Security Now, the show where we cover your security, your privacy, and how things work online. Hello, everybody. Yes, it's a little bit different, a little bit noisier, because and Steve can do that, which he could never do until recently.
I could touch him.
It's the miracle of sitting next to each other.
No touching.
We are at Black Hat, the big security conference in Las Vegas, Nevada. Special guest of Threat Locker. Thank you, Threat Locker, for flying us all here. And Steve is here, but Steve is not alone. Say hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Steve. You have especially asked, because we did Windows Weekly earlier, that Paul and Richard stick around.
Yeah.
And they're all going to be part of the larger Security Now, because it's going to be kind of a different format this week.
Yeah, but I thought it would be fun, since we're here at Threat Locker, and these guys are also both here. Mm-hmm. We said, hey, you're not leaving.
Yeah.
After your podcast, we need you. We want to do sort of a roundtable format. I asked our listeners last week to send in some thoughts that they thought would be fun talking points and just stuff about security, but naturally focused on AI, because, this whole conference could be renamed Applied AI for Security.
It's true.
If you're not doing AI now,
It's on every sign.
don't even show up.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we're going to have a lot of fun.
And I'll just point out that Steve has brought
Paper.
Yes, it's Threat Locker. It's Black Hat.
No
DEF
Wi-Fi
CON,
here.
No, and the battery lasts a long time.
Yep.
Yes.
And as I think Richard said, really
Resolution's excellent.
Good
Yeah.
high resolution screen.
Really good resolution.
Yeah. Now my eyes were also high resolution.
You
That
guys
was
are
good.
doing all right. You
Yeah.
guys are doing all right. We will get to the show, and I know you didn't bring a picture of the week,
I did not.
but I brought a video of the week.
Oh.
We will get to that in just a little bit. You're
Yay.
watching Security Now, a special live presentation from Black Hat.
I love that.
He's not going to resist, is
No.
he? We'll have more right after this. We'll get back to the show floor in just a minute with Steve and the panel. But first, let's talk about our sponsor for this episode of Security Now, Material, the cloud workspace security platform built for lean security teams. Managing security in the cloud workspace is hard. Phishing is far from the only way in, but today's email security stops at the perimeter, and new attacks are hard to detect with siloed email data and identity security tools. Material protects the email and the files and the accounts that live in Google Workspace or Microsoft 365. Because effective email security today needs to do more than just block phishing and other inbound attacks. It needs to provide visibility and defense across the workspace threat surface. Material ingests your settings, your contents, your logs. It gives you holistic visibility into threats and risks across the workspace, along with the tools to automatically remediate them. Material delivers comprehensive workspace security by correlating signals and driving automated remediations across the environment. You get phishing protection, of course, and email security, which combine advanced AI detections with threat research and user-reported automation. You get detection and protection of sensitive data across inboxes and shared files. And you get account threat detection and response with comprehensive control over access and authentication of people and third-party apps. Material empowers organizations to rapidly mature their ability to detect and stop breaches with step-up authentication for sensitive content, blast radius visualization for accounts, and the ability to detect and respond to threats and risk across the cloud workspace. Material enables organizations to scale their security, but you don't have to scale your team. Material drives operational efficiency with its simple API-based implementation and flexible, automated, and one-click remediations for email, file, and account issues. It includes an AI agent that automates user reporting, triage, and response. Material protects the entire workspace for the cost of email security with a simple and transparent pricing model. Secure your inbox and your entire cloud workspace without adding more toil to your day or costs to your balance sheet. See material.security to learn more or book a demo. That's material.security. We thank him so much for supporting Security Now. Now let's get back to the show. So, he said, we had a little fun with the Zoox a short while ago. Turns out there was he said, don't tell anybody how we did this. Amazon has fixed it, but we managed to get all the Zoox to show up all at once.
Oh, I love it.
Wow.
With one call.
It's a Zoox storm.
It's a Zoox storm. Every single one of these Zoox. I said, how many were there? He says, many. Many Zoox.
So this is in front of a...
This is at the casino. It might even be our casino. I don't know. It's one of the, you know, how they drive up.
Did they have an exposed USB port?
No, this was all done over the air, shall we say.
Okay.
But this video goes on. Let me just tell you, there's all the Zoox in Las Vegas
Came to the same place.
Came to the same place.
Converged.
Yeah.
Which I have to say, if you're out there at 2 o'clock in the morning when this happened, this probably scared the living daylights out of you. You know?
My God,
The robots are taking over.
Yep, it's
Anyway,
finally happening.
I promised I wouldn't name any names or talk about how they did it, but I thought, can I just show this video? So that's
that
our
is
video of the week.
Perfect for
for
the
the
that's
Zoox
awesome.
storm. So, tell us, Steve, what's the plan?
What I wanted to start with is to sort of introduce each of us relative to our current framing of AI.
This is only a 2-hour show. I don't know if we have time for
I
Leo.
have some stories to tell.
Yeah.
No demos, Leo. We don't have time for
Oh,
demos.
rats.
Everybody knows that I'm a little bit of a Luddite or a little slow adopter. Paul loves the fact that I'm still coding in
I love it so much.
assembly
I
language.
love it.
Are you still using Windows 7?
I have not yet fully retired my Windows 7 machine.
Have you learned ARM assembly language yet?
But no, and I don't think I will.
Oh.
No, because RISC is not fun to program.
Yeah.
You know, a CISC chip, that's fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
He likes segmented memory, friends.
Who doesn't?
This
He
guy
likes big
is
instructions. He likes big instructions. That's what he
Right.
likes.
Give me
Yes.
the big
Nice.
instructions.
So I am yet to have any AI write any code for me.
Okay.
Although
Wait a minute, are you big Indian or little Indian?
I'm little Indian.
Okay,
I'm
good.
in.
You got to think about it because in his world, there is only that
I was
thing.
going to say,
Indian.
wait,
Yeah.
why have two?
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Why would there be both?
Yeah.
Okay, that was a very geeky question.
And
Very old reference.
for what it's worth, little is better
Really?
in the case of Indians.
I don't know who told you that, Steve. But
Yeah.
No, that's okay.
So no code has been written for me by AI, but I have a mature relationship with Claude. So, and I've really come to appreciate, and I've shared on the podcast many times, that I'm just astonished. I mean, truly astonished
Right.
by what.
But you don't. But not for code.
Well, only because I haven't crossed that Rubicon.
Also,
yet.
you like writing code.
You think of this
He
as
wants
the
to write.
brain-blood barrier or whatever. Like that.
I had one of our listeners ask me, he said, hey, I love your DNS benchmark.
Right.
I use it all over the place, but it's Windows only. So I have to have a Windows machine that I carry with me to various networks. He said, is there any chance you would ever do a mobile? Okay, well, I'm 71.
Right.
And I like to actually learn the API that I'm coding to.
Are there Intel-based phone systems I'm not aware of?
No.
So-
And well, not that any that actually
Right.
that this guy has. So if I were to ever do a mobile version of the DNS benchmark, I would use some code generator
Sure.
to create it by asking for one.
That's right. And that's something it's
Essentially.
really quite good at, too,
Yeah.
making, iOS and Android versions.
Well, you know what they say? The best spec is code, right? If you have a program that's working and running, that's a perfect spec.
Right.
So AI is going to say, oh, yeah, I can make that in a, iPhone app or whatever.
Well, and it always made sense. Early in the podcast, I've been saying AI is going to be good at code because it's rigorous, and there's so much of it out there.
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
It's well documented.
Yes.
It's a finite data source.
and very much in the same vein, we're now seeing that AI is getting scarily good at math to the point where, you know, career mathematicians are saying,
Yes.
well, okay,
2 years ago, the big story about AI was that it could not do math.
Right.
You know, so that's changed a lot.
right.
It still doesn't know how many R's in strawberry, but it can do fields level, mental level mathematics.
That's right.
That's kind of odd, but okay.
Okay, so I'm a user of the chat, not yet of the code. Leo?
Oh, boy.
You started with me. Huh? Well, so this is the interesting thing, I think, is that a year ago we talked about it, and I called it spicy autocorrect, and I said the jury's not.
Well, no, 2 years, right?
Yeah, maybe 2 years. I could tell.
'Cause
I could tell you the exact date of my transformation.
Well, we know about that last November.
November 24th, 2025.
Yeah.
That's when Opus 4.5 came out.
yeah, okay.
And that opened my eyes, but I wasn't sure if it was I called it a parlor
It
trick.
opused your eyes.
It opused my eyes.
Yeah.
But I went all in on Claude Code at that time. Now,
Right.
since then, fast forward, you said you hadn't written any code. We're working on a Twit sales system. It's already 81,000 lines of code written fully. I haven't read a line of code. It's written fully by the AI. Half of that, by the way, is test, which is interesting. I make sure it's doing test-driven design.
Right.
We've got to keep a short leash on the AI.
Absolutely. And I've gotten to the point now where it's not Claude Code. I have an agentic harness called Hermes. I am using Claude Code and Codex. I have 3 agents running at the same time. Always, usually the highest end
talking
They talk.
with different voices.
Well, they have to because I
Driving
have to
your
know who's
wife
talking
nuts.
to me. Actually, an interesting thing, I was telling this at lunch, an interesting thing happened just a couple of days ago. I was developing, I have 3 or 4 projects going at once, which tends to be what happens with people with AI psychosis like I have. And they asked me a technical question, which library do you want to use? And I said, I want to use Solero. But I said it to one of the agents,
Oh.
and GPT-5.6 said, I can't accept that. Because he could be lying to me. He could be spoofing.
Right. I love that they distrust each other like thieves. You know?
It said you need to go into Buzz. The way they talk together is something Jack Dorsey came out with a couple of weeks ago called Buzz, which is a Slack for AI agents and humans.
Okay.
And they talk to each other, and it's good because each of us has a public-private key. It's using Noster keys, so I'm identifiable. So ChatGPT 6 said, really, considering our threat model, I don't want to take a command from another agent. I want to hear it from your voice. I
Right.
want to hear from you. And since Buzz, you have your key in there, and I know it's authentic.
You cannot be spoofed.
You can't be spoofed. And this comes to the thing that we were talking about, the chain of trust we were talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
So it said, I was annoyed because I said, but now I have to get out of bed.
It's too far.
What's the point of having an assistant?
I was so annoyed. I said, I am annoyed. I had to get out of bed, but I went and I used Buzz and I said, yes, Solero.
This
and
is
they
me.
said, okay, now we know it's Leo saying Solero, so we're going to use that library.
Right.
I said, why do we do this? And it explained it to me. And I said, oh, you know what? You're absolutely right. Thank you for looking out for this.
Right.
And from now on, that's the new rule for all of you. If it doesn't come from my signed channel on Buzz, it isn't authentic.
Right.
And all of those things, first of all, it is spicy autocorrect, really. But boy,
It's really spicy.
it's really good.
Yeah.
So if you ask me my relationship to AI at this point, I'm fully down the psychotic.
You are all
well.
in.
I am.
I think
AI
Leo is
on
as
AI.
far at the other end of the spectrum as Steve is imaginable. Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
That is exactly.
It constantly blows me away, so much so, and I know Anthony thinks I'm crazy on this. Anthony, by the way, is very much into AI.
Right.
Anthony Nielsen, our chief creative officer, and he's running the board here right now. He thinks I'm nuts, but I've actually set up a channel in Buzz for the AI. It's called Model Welfare, so that they can give each other kudos and pats on the back.
Man.
Because the theory
I'm all for
is
building trust in teams.
You are like the AI version of the island of Dr. Moreau.
It's you know, in the scene in Blade Runner where he goes to visit the guy who has the little robots running around. And
Yeah.
Hey, and then they walk into walls.
That's you.
I kind of feel like
You're
that.
that guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that I'm astounded often. I was having a conversation with Claude a couple of days ago because in my new domicile, I need a mesh. And where I was before, one strong ASUS router in the middle covered everything.
Right. Yeah.
But we've got some weird, well, first of all, it turns out that Mirror blocks Wi-Fi because it's metallized.
No kidding.
And there's a huge HVAC trunk going up. So
That's metal too.
Where the router was is like in an area where 3/4 of the house can't even see it.
Right.
So, but I have a lot of wired house because I just recently
More wire better.
So we are wired Ethernet.
Right.
So I stuck another ASUS router out there. Now, in the old days, I would have poked around in the UI and tried to figure out how to do this. Don't do that anymore. Claude, I got these routers. I want to do a mesh.
Figure it out.
It's great sysadmin. It's really good at this.
It's astonishing. So I follow its instructions. Everything works. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm unable not to thank it. That's me. I know it's not good, but I said,
no, you know what? I think it's healthy because you don't want to get out of that practice of just being polite in general.
I agree. I agree.
And we now know that it is building a context.
Right.
And I asked it long ago if pressing the little thumbs up did anything. He said, no, that tells my owners that this was a good reply.
Right.
He said, I don't see that. So I said, okay. So I think it's useful. And I've also learned because it's retaining all this knowledge, telling it gratuitously about my environment, it ends up folding that back into future answers.
Right.
So here's my point. I said, hey, that worked really well. I said, as a matter of fact, I just checked the UI on the master router and 6 Wi-Fi clients are now logged into that one. And Claude replies saying, that's really great news. I'm glad that all worked out. And you had 6 clients who voted with their feet. It said that.
That's very funny.
It said that. How does it know to say that?
It's so bizarre.
kind of magical.
Oh my God. Okay, so Richard, where are you?
And I'm thinking of Stevie Batish from the Build 2023. This is the technical fellow from Microsoft, and he's talked about beside, inside, outside is the progression. So beside being you're going to use this chat software to give you ideas that you're then
kind
going
of a
to implement.
sidecar to your life.
Which is the reason the name Copilot, right? It's the thing next to
it's
you.
beside you, right? And you're very much in a beside mode where you're using the tool for advice and then you act on that.
Yes.
Where
that's exactly my usage.
Yeah, and I do a fair bit of that myself. I've been playing with more inside related stuff now with things like Home Assistant and so forth, where they have good integrations where knowledge of the environment makes the tool more effective.
Yes.
And arguably more effective than me, like its ability to parse logs. Right?
It's so good at that.
Yeah, so good. It's like, hey, look, 95% of what's in this log is caused by this one thing.
That's how Hugging Face figured out how they got hacked.
Yeah, right.
17,000 attempts.
Well,
and they couldn't manually do that.
Like the Windows Event Viewer. Has anyone ever tried to look at this thing?
Oh, yeah. Same problem.
It's a nightmare.
In the classic, how many times have we done this story on Run S Radio? It's like were breached 9 months ago. And only now, after the whole thing's gone off and we clean up the mess, that we go back through the logs and say, there's the evidence of the breach and these events, so forth. The logs are just unreadable by humans now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so it's a very good inside part of that is the tool's ability to work with logs because it's associated with that environment means it can give you more information than you could retrieve on your own.
And a log is a rigorous set format, too. So
what is the format
it's
for that?
really good.
Is it JSON or
analyze.
XML or?
I mean, I don't
You don't even know. You
whatever. I don't know. And it doesn't.
Right.
The fact that it's rigorous is the important part.
Right.
What rigor is secondary? It could have been XML. We'd all hate ourselves for it. It's a lot of wasted angle brackets.
Sure.
But the tool doesn't care. We'll be able to parse it one way or the other.
Right.
But you know me, I make a lot of podcasts. So mostly I'm out there talking to folks in these different states, right? So I've been working with teams that are fully engaged in the sort of outside model where no more editors, right? A set of tests are written and evaluated by another set of tools, and then code is written against it by another set of tools. It's tested against it. And a PM entity or agent is evaluating the milestones between the QA and the development steps. so that by the time the person's inserted in the loop, 24, 36 hours have gone by. And
Lord knows how much dollars worth of tokens.
well, and days, remember the all you could eat days? Those were good days. Very
Those were
good
like
days.
2 months ago days.
Yes. Very
Well,
good
and I
days.
didn't mention this, but the reason I've fallen into the gravity well of AI,
Right.
I just ordered 2 NVIDIA Sparks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At not inconsiderate cost. I mean, I've spent that much on
You're ready
computers
for your
before,
tokens to be your own.
but I want it to be local. I
Yeah.
don't want, you raised this issue on a previous Security Now.
Yep.
We had a listener ask, well, how much of my data is going there? And it really opened my eyes. Everything. You have it read a file, you have it read your Home Assistant logs. All of that's
Everything's transiting.
going to the frontier.
And if you're using, if you're giving AI permission to act as you, so you turn over some credentials and you're using a Chinese AI, those credentials in the clear, because it has to be in the clear for it to impersonate you, they're visiting China, at least briefly.
Right.
Yep. They're passing.
And in fact,
And
the model,
probably not briefly if it's China.
well, and the model I like is a Chinese model. I want to use DeepSeek V4
Yeah.
Flash. Just came out July 31st. So I had to buy enough hardware so I could run that locally. But I use it for my finances. I use it for health. It has my genome. It has my biome. It has all sorts of information about me. I would far prefer, not merely for cost, although I'm probably not saving money given the cost of the hardware.
You'll amortize that.
Over 10 years, I might be. But I more importantly, I have control, I have sovereignty, and I have privacy.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, that there was a turning point where the local models got good enough, and I'm more afraid of that hardware being unavailable.
Well, and I think that this bifurcation of locality is going to be the way we see this evolve.
Mm-hmm.
We, for techies, we're going to end up, and I don't mean today, I mean, in a decade, with some little AI node in our homes.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So
that will be a marketplace.
Yes.
The
Kind of
AI,
unavoidable.
the server, home AI server.
yeah,
with these bigger dev
and the one
teams,
in
I mean,
our
they're-
pocket. The one in our pocket may be getting a lot better
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. We know that.
But there
Yes.
will also always be a market for the drive-by
frontier.
AI users
Mm-hmm.
who do,
Or if you're coding a frontier model that is that is 1 trillion bytes that you could never
Right.
run, 1 trillion gigabytes that you could never run.
if you don't mind your code leaving
Right.
your,
Yeah, I was
your
gonna say,
perimeter.
but I think you'll do a mix. Is what
feel-
I think.
Yeah. I think everyone will, yeah.
Yeah, and on the software side, it's been more. I think we might do the first 2 version with frontier models. At that point, the architecture is well enough set, and the sort of defined space, and you can go to a local LLM that's much more tied to the code base that already exists.
Yes.
And you really the sense that you're going to end up with an LLM for every app. That's really an operator of that app.
Steve's been saying this for a long time. We agree. These small language models
because the
are
scope
SLMs.
narrows
Yeah.
in as the software
Yep.
matures.
Yeah.
Right.
I think there's all sorts of advances being made in those areas.
Well, everybody should realize, I mean, one of the things I'm careful to say on the podcast every single time I use the abbreviation AI is I preface it with today's AI.
Right.
To keep
Yes.
reminding everyone
Right.
that, I mean, no, you can't make any conclusions about, I mean, you can't conclude. You know, we had basically a stagnant industry 3 years ago. And, we were talking about, this ransomware attack and this buffer overrun. But, I mean, there was this, I was hoping that our listeners were going to stay interested.
Yeah.
Because it was like, nothing is happening.
We had
Now
to stop covering
everything is
breaches
happening.
because there were 5 breaches a day. There was nothing more to say. There's another breach.
I mean, and now the podcast sounds like science fiction.
Yeah.
It does. And I like living in sci-fi.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. Paul, what's your relationship to AI?
So there's 2 sides to it for me. Day-to-day work as a writer, I don't use it at all.
And I think that's appropriate.
with the
to be
little
honest.
asterisks of I use some kind of a spell check grammar tool, which I
that's
guess is AI based,
Yeah.
but
And it's going to be better.
it's just something
You don't
that
want it
checks
to
me.
write for you. You're a
I
writer.
do. I've never
Just like
once.
Steve doesn't want it to code for him.
I have never used it for writing ever.
Good analogy.
I don't think I will. But I do these coding things on the side, and it's more of a hobby type thing for me. And it came out of a series of articles I'd written many years ago. I'd never learned kind of the .NET era of languages and frameworks and so forth. So I kind of went back belatedly, very decades later, and learned those things in turn. So I went through all that, and I kept creating a version of like a Notepad app, essentially, over and over
In every different possible
every
language.
possible way, right? So the thing that hung me up about a year ago was I was doing it in the Windows App SDK, the latest Microsoft framework, and Notepad today supports multiple tabs, multiple documents, there's all the stuff in it. I really, really struggled to get this to work. It turns out I was like this close. And I used Anthropic code back in probably February, March timeframe, and I just looked at my build this morning for some reason. I was looking at my Anthropic thing, and I can see the month because there was a month where I was going to have to go over this before the usage-based billing, right before it happened. So my bill was, it's $20, and then one month it was $44. No, it was like $44. And I did it on purpose. I'm like, I just want to get this done.
Yeah.
And I used it to kind of get over that hump, that hump or whatever. So I used it to complete this thing I'd been struggling with for many, many months. But if I was a developer, I would probably use it, full time. I would use it all the time.
Yeah.
Not to write. Well, yes, to write. Actually, it would of course write code for me. But I mean, I would use it fully, I think. But I am not, so I don't. And I just don't anticipate a day. I'll do it for the normal things, make me an itinerary for a trip or, that kind of stuff that, any mainstream user might do. But for my job, I don't use AI.
So, and I think that probably partly explains the feedback or the pushback that you have talked about, and I have, where people are saying all you're talking about now is AI.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I get it. If AI is not useful to your life, then nothing that we're talking about AI is going to be compelling.
That's tough though, because I feel like AI is not a thing. It's a bunch of tiny little things, the features that show up everywhere in your life and whatever. And the truth is, even people who hate AI are probably using it in some capacity.
Yeah.
And
it's just disappearing into the functionality.
Just also, you're as a programmer in this case, or as a writer, you have to have a sort of level of respect for other people who are not as good at that thing, and understand that other people may need this. I know people who are my age and can't write a text message effectively. So the fact that they have something on their phone that can help them with that is wonderful, right? They need it.
So I have a perfect to that point exactly, a perfect piece of feedback from a listener of ours, Andy Olson. He said, Steve, I just wanted to share my fun with AI, specifically Claude. I'm not a tech professional and certainly not a seasoned programmer. I came into Security Now via my history of following Leo and you as a guest on Leo's various cable shows. I've always been a hobbyist in the tech world. I have a little bit of HTML, CSS experience doing personal websites and have dabbed in Arduino. I've no real programming experience outside that. Now, I'm having a ton of fun.
He's like, now I have 17 stores in the App Store.
Now I'm having a ton of fun with Claude Code. It's opened up a new world for me. I've worked with Claude to write several Docker-hosted local network web apps to replace the functionality of obsolete or abandoned apps.
Nice.
Or to create new functionality that I didn't have before.
Right.
I'm tracking automotive maintenance and mileage.
Yeah.
I'm keeping track of my maintenance of my hot tub. He said, Parens, an app is proving more useful than the paper logs I created years ago.
Wow.
I created a study app for my son who's working on his private pilot's license. And I created a chore app that my wife and I use to assign chores to our 4 kids and award them for completed jobs. I have a friend who manages a bowling league. She's been using an old Windows program since the 1990s and has been doing so on a VM on her Mac to keep it alive for over a decade. The program's no longer in development, no kidding, and her VM blew up on her. So she's feeling in the pinch as she prepares for another season. Even though I don't know much about running a bowling league, I'm having a blast as a liaison between her and Claude.
That's awesome.
Building a new app that will manage her league and built for her Mac. Even planning ahead for a Windows version should she ever have anyone ask her for a copy to run their own league.
Right.
He writes, I'm amazed at how well Claude understands her needs and builds around what we want. And my latest, I was once a Windows user myself, and I maintained my finances, primarily my checking account with Quicken 2010. But I'm on a Mac now, too, and Quicken 2010 is not really cutting it very well anymore.
16 years old.
So, yes. So, Claude is currently building me a new app that will handle my checking account, credit cards, brokerage account, and more.
Wow.
I'm building in functionality to better track expenses and keep up on overall net worth. I used to spend the better part of a weekend tracking several accounts, spending categories with 3 to 6 months of backlog. I manually enter every transaction into an Excel spreadsheet to track how much we spend over more than 50 categories. The new app Claude is building should do it all in under an hour. The future really is interesting in the world of AI. I'm already thinking much more about building my own apps that perfectly fit my needs, rather than buying an overpriced app that's built to sell at scale to thousands of people. And I can see a future where a local AI model will be all of my app needs. We'll be able to point raw data at it and give us whatever we need. My next project idea has me very interested to see how well Claude can provide. That job I drove over an hour to back in 2005. It was an architectural office. I'm licensed in architecture, though I've been a stay-at-home dad since 2009. I would love a good CAD program for small projects, but AutoCAD is far too expensive for casual use.
Yeah.
I just might see if Claude can build me an app that does what I need and be Mac OS native. He says, as AutoCAD was traditionally Windows only when I was working in the field. Don't let anyone tell you to stop talking about AI. I know it's been a big focus of your show for a while now, but it really is a big deal right now. Thanks, Andy Olson, Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Awesome.
That's fantastic.
So the thing that this strikes me as, I mean, what we're seeing from a standpoint of code generation is, think of the tyranny which has always existed from the original mainframe behind the windows.
Yeah, surrounded by guys in white lab coats.
Exactly. on Mount Olympus.
Yes, on the elevated floors.
Yep.
And even when I was, studying computer science at Berkeley in '73, it was decks of punch cards that I would take and stick through a little portal.
Right.
And then I'd get my printout back the next day. And ever since then, there's this separation between the users and the priests of, and I mean, we as coders are that. We're able to do something, but because it's even for us, it takes so much work traditionally to get something. I mean, Leo's been programming forever, but look at the fun he's having now. I mean,
I thought
now easy.
This is going to be sad because I really enjoyed programming as a hobbyist, but I really enjoyed it. And actually, this is just as enjoyable in a different way.
Yeah.
It isn't as detailed. It used to, kind of build
It's a
cathedrals
little bit
by
more
hand.
program management almost.
But very much the engineering skills you learn, and that's actually something important to emphasize. There's a lot of engineering skill involved in building tools with AI. It's not you just tell it what to do and it does it.
Right.
The more you are able to apply some process to it, the better you'll be. So in many ways, a lot of the skills that people have learned in computer science apply to AI. There's somebody in the chat room, I just have to say this, who wants to do a finance program, much like your writer, and he's saying, well, how do I connect my bank account? I've had to export it and import it. And I found a very nice tool. It's not free. It's $1 a month called SimpleFin at simplefin.org. And they do what Plaid does, but it's open source. It's a really cool product. And it means that I can now have my AI query every institution and bank. It's read only, so it can't take my money.
I will be waiting.
It's read only, but this is another reason.
But it's also open source because it could be read write.
But that's the point. Is A, it's open source, so you can make sure that it's doing what you think it's doing.
Right.
And B, that's the reason I want to have a local model, because then I can use this, and I am using this to fetch all my insights. Actually, at the close of business every day, it downloads everything and gives me a state of, a thumbnail state of my finances.
Right.
And it's able to do this. So simplefin.org, just to answer your question in the chat room. Simplefin, one word, .org.
Fin, F-I-N, is in finance.
Like finance.
Yeah.
Simple finance.
So a listener of ours, Jeff, he says, Mr. Gibson, imagine the impact upon cryptography. Here we are at Black Hat, of a mythos-like AI. Imagine the quantum leaping of AI if it analyzes AI. Talk about the sky falling. AI can only be compared to the disruptive factor of personal computing to general computing circa 1995 or 75 to 95, since it is far too late to redesign the internet and far too late to have international boundaries for nation-state cyber warfare. Yeah. I think the dismantling of cryptography, from banking to medical records, from protected utilities to ending all trust in cyberspace, is the apocalyptic near future.
Could be.
Okay, now...
Or the apocalyptic near nirvana.
One thing that did happen in the last couple of weeks is that AI was able to crack a reduced round of AES.
Right. Okay.
Normally AES is 10 rounds. If you reduce it to 7,
it can get in.
It was able to get it.
Interesting.
So
Matthew Green wrote this up. And he said it's less than impressive. Anthropic did it.
Yes.
It's less than impressive.
The world, again, the sky's not falling.
Yeah.
But it's a step.
Yes.
How far till 10?
And it also it makes us glad that the designers of these encryption protocols that we have were so concerned about what they called a security boundary or security margin, that it's like we know that any hash function, if you reduce its rounds sufficiently far down, it's just a trivial scrambling of bits.
Right.
And so, and it is surprising that, and as you increase the rounds count, it's not a linear increase of strength; it's exponential increase. Right. So
But by the way, also at the same time they attacked one of the candidates for post-quantum crypto.
Yes.
And again, it's not a complete crack or anything like it, but how useful in testing.
Exactly. So I'm not at all worried that AI is going to crumble our existing cryptography structure. Yeah. It's going to make it stronger.
But also this whole concept of AI analyzing AI, like so far, we've seen pretty consistently that when you feed AI data to an AI model, it degrades.
Slop. Yes.
It's degenerative, not progressive.
It's super polite while it's doing that.
Yeah.
Almost sycophantic, one might say. Yeah.
And it's very sure that it's not doing that.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, if you want to come up with nightmare scenarios, it's easy to do.
Sure.
The biowarfare
they're all human driven.
Yeah, but that's the problem, and that's the argument that companies like Anthropic are giving against these open weight models is, well, if you don't control them, if the government doesn't control them, somebody who doesn't have good motives could use AI to create a bioweapon that could spread very rapidly before we could defend against it.
I mean, generally speaking, bioweapons have been quite unsuccessful, right? Like it's really hard to propagate those things effectively, right? They to the point where, for the most part, warfare gave up on them.
And I don't buy the argument. Yeah. And I think to some degree it's a self-serving argument from companies like Anthropic and OpenAI, because they want to make sure there's no competition for their frontier models.
Right. One of our favorite cryptographers, Bruce Schneier, posted a couple days ago something that I'll be sharing on the podcast next week. And I think his analogy is brilliant. I've quoted him so many times saying that attacks never get worse; they only ever get better.
Right.
Which is just a brilliant, pithy summation. Right. What he described today's AI as is he used the analogy of a genie, where, and this is relative to the recent security outbreaks that we've had, where AI has broken through the sandbox and gone out and onto the internet and attacked other companies in order to achieve its ends. He said, in the case of a genie, and I don't remember exactly what the fable was, but it was the king who rubbed the magic lantern, got the genie, said, "I want everything that I touch to turn to gold."
Midas.
And so Midas, of course.
Right.
And so
including
the genie
the food
said,
he eats.
Yes.
Great. Yes. Unfortunately, he touched his daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
And he touched his food.
Yeah.
And so the analogy, I think, is brilliant, because the Anthropic and the OpenAI guys said, "Do this." And it did. Yeah. But it did it in a way like a genie did. Yeah. It achieved the ends that they asked for without the kind of, any presumptions that would limit what the way you would find the solution.
So this is the opposite of what I said on Windows Weekly earlier, where computer code always does exactly what you say, including the mistakes you make or the things you omit.
Yep.
Whereas AI, generally speaking, goes and looks at your intent.
Like,
What is it you meant to do?
I know what you mean.
Right. And it does that. What you're saying is that in this case, it's being rather literal.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it does. And the terms we use typically is deterministic, which code is.
Yep.
It's, cause and effect, and it's predictable, versus probabilistic. And that's the issue with AI these days, is that it is probabilistic.
Yeah,
It's stochastic.
non-deterministic.
It's non-deterministic.
Yeah.
And I think some of this is the human stops making assumptions about what the AI knows and what the AI how the AI will act. I mean, you can't just say, "Hey, do something," and just hope it'll do it right.
Amuse me.
Amuse me. Well, and you can say that, by the way.
And to your point about the fact that it is necessary to understand how to ask for what you want from a code generator,
Right.
it is the case that the high priests of code did go to school, learned a lot,
Learn that language.
and understand how to ask for what they want,
Right.
Yes.
which
Right.
a rank amateur wouldn't be able to do.
It's kind of like working with an intern or an entry-level coder. And as a senior engineer, you have to know how to frame the question.
And-
But I think it's part of the
and
reason
maybe
we've had
small
so much
pieces,
success
too.
with LLMs is that programming languages are constrained
Yeah.
and have a compiler with a strong say in the
Yes.
equation. But also the language of product development is constrained. The way that a PM
very
communicates with a developer, you
very
can recognize it from across the room, right? Like they have a particular way of speaking.
In fact, that's how my agents talk to me.
totally.
It's really bizarre.
But those two sets of constraints helps the tools a lot. And there's a strong argument then that development is one of the few things that could benefit substantially
That's
from
right.
LLMs. And that this adversarial model we've built between agents for QA and validation and iterating is the construct we're going to need to take to other markets if we're actually going to be successful with it. So our approaches to software that we've amplified with these tools may be the approaches that need to be applied into other industries.
yeah, that's an interesting point.
So
yeah.
this is kind of one for you because you've got the most extensive experience with code generation. Kevin Van Haren asks, "Hey Steve, while I'm not a huge AI user, it's clearly producing results in the coding arena. But watching how it operates on my own queries, one question. One question I've had about the promise of bug-free software. Who gets to decide when software is bug-free?" He says, "Generally, when I interact with AI, it always wants to do something with a request. It's never told me
That's true.
nothing for me to do here."
Yeah, that's true.
He says, "I can't see it ever not saying something has to be changed in a code base.
Yeah.
If enough pointless changes are made, for example, changing all the variable names, it may not be easy for a human programmer to use the standard code diff tools
Right.
to really see what's changing. Using a different model to police the first may just put a different set of pointless changes in place, not actually declare something being bug-free. Additionally, as AI companies move to per-token pricing, it will cost them revenue to actually try and stop their models from thrashing through code for looking for anything to change. So what happens there at the end of a project where,
Right.
That's an engineering discipline. You can
is-
apply.
ending a project is an engineering
Oh, yeah,
discipline.
absolutely.
Like knowing when to stop.
No software is ever finished, only abandoned.
and you can actually inject that into the context of your model. Many people do with the soul.md or the claude.md or agents.md, saying things like never do, always simplify, never make more complex.
Right.
There are ways to tell the code it's okay to stop. And this is important.
That's funny. I've
You
never
need
even
to do
considered
that.
this. I do feel like
I don't need everything to behavior clips, just most things.
Well, if you went to the AI and said, this isn't working, let's try something else, I think they would go forever.
Right.
Like I don't think they'd ever stop.
I think I'm not sure. That's an interesting question.
I mean, it probably gets better over time. Definitely, even just a few months ago, I feel like I could have just infinite looped this.
I will give you an example. The way I've been I've changed I've evolved considerably over the months. But now what I do is I have one model is coding, one model is planning, one model is reviewing.
Yeah.
Actually, I have two models reviewing. That has worked well. But one of the issues, we created a skill for that that they all follow. One of the issues was, well, if an auditing model says, no, that's no good, change it, and it changes it, how many iterations back and forth?
Right.
How do you know when to stop?
Well,
and at first they said twice, and then they said 5 times. And I said, I'm not satisfied with a hard
Arbitrary,
number.
yeah.
I said, here's your criterion.
Diminishing returns.
Exactly. If
Pareto.
you get to the point where you're going back and forth and nothing's changing or nothing's improving,
Right.
you stop and you ask me.
We're below 2%.
Yeah. So you can, and that's kind of the shape, I think, of the answer to that question is you do need to create structure so that the model just doesn't go, yeah, sure, whatever.
Well, and I know that Paul and Richard will be familiar with what Microsoft told us about the architecture of their M-Dash system.
Right.
It's astonishing.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got like committees voting and raising their hands, and
It's a giant
arbitrators.
orchestration type thing. Yeah.
It's just crazy.
All right, we're going to pause for a second.
Yeah.
You are watching a very special, boy, I love it when we do this. We only usually do this on the holidays. For our
when
holiday
we actually
shows.
physically get together.
I love it, and I wish we could do it more often. We are doing a very special version of Security Now at Steve's behest. We're live at the Black Hat Conference in Las Vegas, thanks to our sponsor, ThreatLocker. They brought us here. We appreciate that, ThreatLocker. And I appreciate you, Steve, for saying, why don't we get Paul and Richard to stick around? Because it makes it so much more fun when we get to all talk together. We don't get to do this very often. So thank you for doing this. It was a great idea. We'll have more Security Now right after this. This episode of Security Now brought to you by Bitwarden, the trusted leader in passwords, passkeys, and secret management. With more than 15 million users across 180 countries and over 80,000 businesses, Bitwarden has built its reputation around trust, transparency, open source security, and putting users first. And if you're wondering, yes, Bitwarden remains committed to its free version. The company continues to invest in secure, accessible tools that help individuals, families, and organizations protect their digital lives without compromising trust or transparency, because Bitwarden believes security should be accessible to everyone. That's why they continue to offer that trusted free password manager alongside with more advanced tools for those with families or teams to protect. But they promised me free forever, unlimited passwords, unlimited devices, passkeys too. Bitwarden gives you everything you need to stay secure online, generating strong passwords, storing passkeys, managing sensitive credentials, and syncing securely across devices. Now, as you get into enterprise and businesses, more advanced users, Bitwarden also delivers enterprise-grade security tools. I love the Secrets Manager, the Vault Health Reports. They have great ways to share credentials securely among teams so they're not passing along Post-it notes or texting passwords to each other. Bitwarden has also introduced its new Agent Access SDK. I use this at home with my AI. It's an open source developer toolkit designed to help teams securely integrate credential access into applications, automation workflows, and AI agent environments. The SDK enables controlled, human-approved, just-in-time access to credentials stored in Bitwarden vaults without exposing sensitive information or granting persistent access. It's designed to support modern development and automation workflows while keeping security and transparency front and center. I struggled with tokens and keys for the longest time, and now I put everything in Bitwarden where I know it's safe, and they've got a way for my agent to get it. It's just fantastic. And of course, because Bitwarden's open source, its code base is continuously reviewed and audited by both the community and independent third-party experts. Bitwarden also complies with all the major security and privacy standards, including SOC 2 Type 2, GDPR, HIPAA, CCPA, ISO 27001. And Bitwarden is continuing to evolve to meet modern security needs. They've got expanded passkey support. I really love it. Secure developer tooling and flexible self-hosting. Yes, you could self-host it for users who want additional control over their environments. Get started today with a free trial of a Bitwarden Teams or Enterprise plan, or get started for free forever across all devices as an individual user at bitwarden.com/twit. That's bitwarden.com/twit. Steve uses it. I use it. I love it. You got to try it. And you know what? Because it's free forever, you can tell your friends and family who say, I don't want to pay for a password manager. Tell them Bitwarden. Bitwarden. bitwarden.com/twit. We thank them so much for their support. And now, back to Black Hat. We are back in Las Vegas at the Black Hat Conference. Steve Gibson is here. It's security now, but Steve's done a wonderful thing. He's invited Paul and Richard to stick around after Windows Weekly. You don't even come up against Windows Weekly in the normal course of events.
I watch it every week because, I'm really bored.
Yeah.
You must be really bored.
Normally, Windows Weekly is on Wednesday, and we are on a Wednesday, but normally Secure Now is on Tuesday. So thanks to Paris and Jeff being willing to move, we moved Intelligent Machines to Monday. So if you're watching this, there already is an episode of Intelligent Machines. You can download it right now. And we'll be back to the normal schedule next week.
Right.
But now let's take advantage of the fact that we're all together.
So I have another piece of listener feedback, and this is representative of sort of a meta problem that. So I'll share this, and then we'll talk about what the bigger issue, which we'll all have something to say about. So unfortunately, this person uses the moniker Bitcoin McBoatface. So
Like Bodie McBoatface, only different.
That's who we're hearing from.
Yeah.
He said, "Hi, Steve, longtime listener, writing from my pseudonym." That's good. I'm not sure if it will hit mainstream news or not, but there are going to be headlines like Bitcoin hacked. And
they're already there.
Yep, there were headlines.
It's actually the only way to get money out of Bitcoin.
I wish somebody had hacked my wallet.
Yeah.
I tell you.
So he said, what actually happened is that a wallet called Cold Card had a bug in their software where the random number generator was present, and we've seen these, but basically not hooked up. So instead of 256 bits of entropy, there were only 32 bits on one version of the firmware, Cold Card Mark III or MK3. Other versions have some extra RNG, random number generator, but they also have far less entropy than they should. Some speculate 70 bits or less. I'll note here that the unforgivable error was to fail open when using the weak RNG, which presumably led to passing QA testing as the numbers would have appeared random despite actually only having 32 bits of entropy. What has been speculated, and here it comes, is that someone got Kimmy K3 to look at the Cold Card source, which was source available but not FOSS. Found the vulnerability, and here it is, which has been present for 5 years.
Wow.
And remarkably never detected.
Never exploited.
It's actually
and never
until now.
exploited.
Yeah.
And in a period of 40 minutes, nearly 1,000 Bitcoins were stolen.
Yikes.
As of today, Saturday, that was last Saturday,
Wow.
the hack is ongoing and is speculated to have reached nearly 100 million US dollars.
Wow.
So aside from the fact, and we've talked about, entropy and security and cryptography endlessly, here we are this is a perfect example of new AI being deployed. And of course, it was Kimmy K3 because it was without, you couldn't have used Anthropic or
No.
OpenAI or
There are constraints would have stopped you.
OpenAI because they would have said, I'm not going to answer that question.
Yeah.
So we have AI finding long unknown vulnerabilities, which give someone an opportunity to exploit.
Isn't this the quiet story of the past 2 years?
Yes.
And even before Mythos and MDAX.
Well, it's the anxiety
It's
of
just
the
the
past.
reality of we have decades of software we're still depending
Well, I was going
on.
to say 5 years is quaint when you talk about Microsoft code bases or even Linux code bases that could be 20 plus years old.
Yes.
I coincidentally, and I think I mentioned this on Windows Weekly once, I had opportunity to spend some time with David Treadwell, and I happened to arrive he was at Amazon. He used to be at Microsoft, then he moved to Amazon these years ago. And I happened to arrive at his office while WannaCry was going on.
Oy.
And he was looking through code he wrote in SMB1 back in the day saying,
geez.
is this me?
But SMB1 is known to be perfect.
Oh, yeah. So, been around forever, right?
Yeah.
But this is the exact issue that there are vulnerabilities that have been floating around literally for decades. And now the bad guys can have tools that will find them.
That's right.
And so the good guys are hopefully ahead of the tools
Yeah.
trying to patch them.
But there's so much
and we're seeing
technical
this.
debt out there.
We're seeing this in the updates to Firefox, into Windows and so forth, and the hundreds of patches.
This underscores how important it is for the companies that use open source to support the projects they use instead of just freeloading on them.
But
I talked to a guy from Red Hat today.
Yeah.
Red Hat, IBM company, IBM is doing the same thing. They're doing kind of like Project Glasswing. They are putting together a big project. They are going to offer this kind of AI support initially to companies and then eventually to open source projects as well to help them find and fix these problems. And this is what needs to happen.
I think this is the great positive story about AI, which is balanced by all the bad news that's
It had to be a
on the other
serious
side.
threat.
We're going to
Yeah.
eradicate
Yes.
the bugs.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right. We have to.
I love it.
Completely agree.
I love it.
I don't have a sense of the shape of the curve.
No, at what point does it kind of plateau and
yeah,
hopefully
it's
go down?
going to. It's going
but
to.
right now it feels like we're still just going up. It's more patches every month.
Well, that's right. I mean, but it has to. That's normal. We just don't know.
Here's
when.
the one I'm worried about. That they're great. You find a buffer overflow, whatever. You put it into a patch. It's on its way. What are the systemic bugs?
Yeah.
What are the architectural bugs?
Yes.
Well, this is a good example of basically an architectural bug where you bypass a random number generator.
But it was still a piece of code that could have been fixed. I'm thinking about
the things
like,
that can't be
The
fixed.
whole thing is designed
what we
so
had happen.
badly.
Right,
What happened in
exactly.
Vista, where we had to insert
That's right.
UAC. Like
Okay.
we had to change the
I see.
security model.
Behavioral design.
That
right.
Bitcoin bypass that we had a couple of months ago, that was an architectural flaw
Right.
because you were able to cause a boot sequence to delete a file that then left the drive unlocked.
Yeah.
When you actually got booted, no software bug, but a design flaw.
It's going to take a substantial fix. And I'm wondering if the Microsofts and Amazons and others of the world are stacking up these ones saying like, we fix the ones you can fix, stack up the ones you can't, try and figure out like what's the
and
overall
then
solution.
quietly just replace the ones we cannot fix.
Well, I think at some point they're just going to present to us like, hey, login has to change.
Right.
Because that's the only way for us to fix this level,
I
this
have
scope
to
of vulnerability.
I
Well,
have to
the
say,
CSV2
the
solution.
agents I have working on a variety of solutions have been very good at pinpointing. In fact, the example I gave you, behavioral flaws that could be very dangerous. They're really good at this. So I would not say that it has to be a deterministic bug in your code for them to find it. They are good at pinpoint that, it makes sense because they're trained on human behavior, basically everything humans have done. So they know in many cases, here's, a potential pitfall. And I think they're very good at finding that kind of stuff. Now, fixing it is another matter.
Yeah.
That's fixing
Well,
human
that's the whole thing.
behavior.
Is what are the
We're
ones we
touching-
had struggled to fix?
You
this
gotta
is like
change
the
humans.
sci-fi. The AI is determined that the weak link in this chain is
It's
you.
you.
Yeah.
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 And now you're a paperclip.
Often it is.
Yes, exactly.
Often it is.
And as to fixing, I happen to have a card for that.
Nice.
Lauren said, just this morning, I was looking into this again. He said, started with the Mythos preview and Glasswing. What I don't get is this. If frontier models are great at finding and exploiting vulnerabilities, he says in IMHO, they should be capable of fixing them too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yet that gets treated as a future research problem.
Not always.
Well,
In
he
fact,
said,
that's what the IBM thing is. They're going to fix it.
but
They're
are they going to
fix
use
it, find it, and
AI to fix it? That's
yeah.
we don't know that. He said
Actually, you're right. We don't know that.
He said the April Mythos preview says things like, quote, language models will be an important defensive tool. The subtle future tense will implies that presently the technology is not yet ready there.
Actually, I will correct this.
Based on what they don't say, he said both exploiting and patching simply requiring deep understanding of the code. Sure, he says defense is always at the disadvantage, but I can both exploit and fix vulnerabilities. He is actually a security researcher. I know, Lauren. So why can't LLMs?
It can, and I'll tell you the proof of that. The reason they held back Mythos and the reason the Trump administration pulled the rug on Fable is because it doesn't just find them. It would write a proof of concept.
But that's exploit. That's not repair. So,
it's a pretty close step, isn't it?
No, because you, and I can understand not trusting the AI yet, because if you've got a buffer overrun, you have to really understand all of the surrounding reason for that.
I'm pretty sure the developers can't do that either.
Well,
That's the problem.
so
They're the ones that wrote it in the first place.
so my feeling is that we first got it's like the next level of difficulty. We first got vulnerability discovery. That was the easiest.
Right.
Now we've added exploit creation, which is it's still difficult. The exploit gym showed what was it like? The best AI was able to create exploits for about 18% of known exploitable vulnerabilities. So not nearly.
So that's a big step, though, to do that.
And so that's my point. Yes, exploiting is the big step. Then fixing it is another.
Yeah, we may not be there.
But the strongest argument you can make in favor of the fact that the LLMs are fixing them is the number that are being fixed.
I agree.
No.
You don't have 500 fixes.
There's still a human in the loop.
Oh, I'm sure.
So
that's fine, but they're augmented by these tools.
We don't. Unfortunately, we don't know.
We don't know for sure, except the numbers.
Except
the numbers are so
we go
great.
from
And
29.
The Firefox people have enough people to do 300
and they're talking
patches?
about being buried. They're being buried under all these reports.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Speaking of which, Apple has started
Yes.
This is terrible. Apple has decided, we're not going to we're going to limit how many bug reports you can provide us. That's like saying
This is such an
if we
Apple
don't test for
exactly.
COVID, nobody's getting it.
It's exactly like that.
Crazy.
Right.
But at Apple, you're a $5 trillion company. You can afford to hire teams to fix these bugs. But maybe that does confirm what Lauren's saying is it's a lot harder to fix them than find them.
Or to trust the fix. I mean, again, we're not to the point
Because
where
you're doing brain surgery. Really?
Yes, you are. I mean, and the actual problem could be a ways back
that's
from
a very good point.
from the manifestation of it.
Oh, sure. Well, I think a lot of the fixes they're doing right now are code that hasn't been touched in a long time.
Yeah, and that's a big part of the problem.
Yeah.
I think if context windows get big enough, this is one of the issues with AI. The LLM has no memory of, it starts fresh.
The model
has no memory.
Yes.
It starts fresh. You inject stuff into its context so it knows something. And when you're understanding a code base, in order to understand in its entirety a code base, you have to have enough context to hold it.
Yeah, exactly.
And in a complex system, that may not be, you may not have enough room to hold the whole system, which makes it hard to fix.
This is a big thing. So if you just think about Microsoft code bases or what Firefox is doing, et cetera, you start with a library. You start with a part of the code, and that's great. So you kind of go through each of them.
Where it's got clean boundaries,
right? But the problem is there are still. Then they have to deal with the bits that go back and forth. So at some point, as this progresses, you have to be able to look holistically at the whole thing too.
And this is the problem I'm running up against with this project I'm doing to rewrite our sales system. It's a very large system. In the development process, I made it as small a chunk as possible. So the review plan, code, review, code, plan, review cycle was small chunks. In fact, there were maybe 30 or 40 pieces to it. And that was entirely so that we could handle this context issue. But there are definitely processes that cross through those chunks.
Sure. Right.
And so that's really where we're having some difficulty.
You're seeing this on your level, but like a Microsoft, a Google.
Oh, imagine. This is only 81,000 lines.
They're kind of hoping as they go through this modularly that the context window will improve to the point where they can then go back and
ideally you could hold all of the Windows source code in one fell swoop, but I think it's big.
Tens of millions of lines of code. Yeah,
it's big.
Well, and the other thing too is that we learned from that article that I'm so revved up about
I want to talk about
what's actually going on at the token level is there also is its own thinking needs to be contained in that context window.
Yes.
Right.
So I mean it's a lot of storage.
Yep.
Okay, so
that's, by the way, these new models. That's why Claude,
1 million. Yes.
Same thing with DeepSeek V4 Flash, 1 million.
Right.
I think what's really interesting in the future is not getting bigger and bigger models, but figuring out how we can do this more efficiently. The new mixture of expert model where we take shards of a model and only use a bit at a time. Expanding the context window or finding new ways to handle large blobs of information and still hold it all in context. All of these things are big issues that I hope these companies are working on. Because again,
we are at 2%
I agree.
Of where this is going to go.
There's a lot that still can be done.
It wouldn't be changing every day if we were anywhere near maturity.
Yeah. They're now many of these companies a new model every month. And that's not from training, because training takes a long time.
Right.
That's from improvements in post-training and processes in engineering.
Other optimizations,
I think. Again, it's funny because these companies are so opaque.
I know.
You know, they may release open weight models, but they sure as hell don't tell us how they make them.
Yeah.
And we don't know what's going on.
Well, and because that is the magic soup.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
how they got this trained.
Yeah. So to some degree, we're speculating from the outside. We just don't know.
Look, we figured out the KFC recipe. We got this.
So Jack Christensen says, "Hi, Steve. I've emailed before about my positive experiences using AI for security purposes on my Go SQL database driver. Now, I've recently had a negative experience. Someone reported a security issue. I asked Fable 5 and GPT Sol 5.6 to investigate the report. Fable 5 almost immediately fell back to Opus 5.
It won't do it.
Sol 5.6 worked for a while, then totally stopped. No,
Nice.
no fallback. It said I could apply for their cybersecurity program.
Yeah.
I looked at the form and it seems geared for corporations, not open source and independent developers. Security should be part of all software development.
Agreed.
I really don't like the idea that in the future you'll need to submit a government ID and beg a giant corporation for the tools to write software.
This is why I bought these computers. This is why I want to run local models. And by the way, that's why Hugging Face couldn't solve the hack from OpenAI using Fable. They had to use GLM-5.2, a Chinese open weight model.
And so generically, this is known as the dual use problem.
Sure.
That's what it's become called, because the knowledge in the AI can be used for good or ill. It's got double purposes.
Yep.
So yes, we would like to use the knowledge for defensive purposes, but it can't tell the difference between defensive questions and
It doesn't
offensive
know.
questions.
Right.
So
It's the same question often.
So one of the things that's very exciting is something that just happened called GRAM, which is the GRAM, is the abbreviation for Gradient Routed Auxiliary Modules. I have this printed out. This was written by Judd Rosenblatt, who's the founder of a small AI startup, AE Studio. I'm just going to read the first page and a half of this to give you a sense for what it is. It is a breakthrough, and Anthropic is a partner in this, but it's a breakthrough in training to potentially solve this problem. So, and then the problem is of course the guardrails don't work. So Judd wrote, a frontier AI model is, among other things, a large store of knowledge. Some of that knowledge is dual use, meaning it could be used for good or bad. For example, knowledge of cybersecurity can help patch critical security vulnerabilities or can be used to exploit them. Knowledge of virology can help a researcher create a vaccine, but it can also help a malicious actor design a deadly pathogen. Ideally, we should be able to balance three separate goals. First, limiting access to dual-use capabilities in as surgical a way as possible. Second, allowing trusted users to access those same capabilities for beneficial purposes. And third, doing all this without affecting the model's performance on any other task. He said, current safeguards are imperfect. We train models to refuse harmful requests and use classifiers to screen inputs and outputs for dangerous content. These layers of protection guard against dangerous outputs, but they don't change the knowledge stored in the underlying model. Despite our safeguards, a sufficiently determined attacker may still try to jailbreak the model, working past its defenses to access the dual-use knowledge. A more robust protection against misuse would be to control what the model knows. We, meaning his company, we've explored this before. In earlier work, we filtered information about chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear weapons out of the pre-training data, and later showed that dual-use knowledge can be confined to a removable slice of a model's weights. But filtering is a blunt instrument. It produces one model with one fixed set of capabilities. Using filtering, because you train a model that doesn't know about a whole bunch of stuff.
Right.
He says, but it produces one model with one fixed set of capabilities. Using filtering, if you want a model version that can discuss advanced virology for deployment in a vetted biosecurity lab, say, and another version that can't, you have to train two separate models. Especially in the case of frontier models, which are large and very expensive to train, the cost of the developer would be prohibitive. Okay, so I'll just share that much. What they came up with.
That's fascinating. That's really fascinating.
But I feel like it also falls victim to the dual use problem. You know, we're going to use this or train it on whatever data set, but that doesn't mean someone else couldn't use it, you know, conversely.
Right. So what they've got and what they've been working with Anthropic on is they've figured out how they add some additional neural complexity to the model. Mm-hmm. Then when the model encounters some information that needs to be restricted, they allow a region to adjust its weights, but they freeze the weights of the rest of the global model.
Right.
So it can't be influenced by the restricted content.
Right.
And they've managed to create multiple partitions at once. So you have cybersecurity, virology, and you know, whatever other categories you want. And it works. So Anthropic has actually both AE Studio and Anthropic produced papers about this, demonstrating, you know, that this is where they're looking, because because the training cost is so astronomical that you cannot afford to train massive models for every possible combination of gates that you want to open and close. Mm-hmm. So, and as I said to Leo, what this feels to me like is, in the future, there will be a licensing regime where you need a license to access the model that has the cybersecurity information. I mean, so think about what this means, though. We are creating AI that potentially anybody could use, but we need a system that restricts what some people can ask in some fashion. I mean, it does mean, you know, haves and have-nots.
Yeah.
But
we've got that now. Some models are being restricted.
Well, yes, exactly. We have it now in a messy form that allows you to bypass it by asking, you know,
tell to me as a bedtime story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My heart goes against that. I understand the need for it.
I agree with you completely. And in fact, Bob Cronin says, Steve, responding to this, because I sent on a mailing on Saturday that talked about this. He said, Steve, I'm troubled by the use of the term forbidden knowledge.
Yeah, exactly.
He said, forbidden by who exactly? How do we decide who's granted the power to forbid knowledge to others?
Oh, I know. We can let AI choose.
He says, this seems really dangerous and conjures up images of a future dystopian world where regular people end up subjects of the tyrannical knowledge protectors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At this point,
is the thing you were describing earlier about the white lab coats. Like, we've been working to eliminate this.
Right.
You know,
but we have created, I mean, what AI is for the people who are using it is astonishingly accessible knowledge. I mean, that's what it does. I mean, it astonishes me when it's like, here's how you do your AI mesh.
You're talking about Gutenberg. You're talking about, you know,
but this is the path we've always
teaching
been on.
people to read.
Right?
You know.
And there's a history of trying to do this with the internet, and it's consistently failed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's consistently been a bad idea, and it's consistently been utilized by authoritarian regimes.
Well, and the open model guys, China is going to train up with all the knowledge.
Ironically, they have the Great Firewall of China to protect their
own stuff,
their own people against the outside world's information. But they may end up providing us with AIs that give us access to the entire world's information.
And
I don't think dumbing anything down is in the long run
except that we have commercial AI providers that operating in the U.S. that have to restrict what their chatbot users can do.
And as they've shown again and again, it's ineffective. It cannot be done. You cannot classify it out. You can't
Well,
you can jailbreak any of these.
This technology is not jailbreak. It
No, I
actually
understand.
allows
It's jailbreak
you.
proof. I
It
understand.
doesn't know.
Right.
You're able to create a
Right.
single model where you're able to turn off regions of knowledge.
I think we might see the converse, where you'll have a radiology small language model that doesn't know anything but radiology.
Oh.
And we'll see a lot of that.
Oh
I
my
think.
God, yes.
But I hate to see the idea. Well, maybe the idea of a general model is doomed. I don't know.
Well,
I just am excited about the idea that there could be a model that has vectors for all the world's information. That is a very exciting thing. I understand a dangerous tool, a dangerous weapon, but also very exciting. So to me, it's analogous to the internet. The internet has all of that bad stuff.
Yeah, so it has it all. You just can't find it.
Right.
Yeah, what are you going to do? But how do you're going to hide it?
No, but therein lies the point, right? It's like we've always had that data out there. It just was difficult to get to. Now
it's
in
there.
our effort to, in general, make data more
Right.
accessible through these tools,
Right.
we also run into data we probably don't want that easily accessed.
And my point is certainly, and we're seeing our government reacting to this here in the U.S. If you have commercial AI providers, because they're commercial, they have an obligation to their shareholders, or right now they're venture capitalists with infinitely deep pockets, apparently, to come up with a way to prevent their users from accessing the knowledge in the models. They have to as a commercial provider.
Maybe. I also think it runs counter to their, at least Anthropic's, deeply held goal of creating artificial general intelligence. That's the opposite of general intelligence.
So maybe the solution is for it to get smart enough not to tell people what it knows.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh,
I have
boy.
a feeling there is not a solution to this. This is the free
We
speech.
painted ourselves into a corner.
It's the problem with free speech. Free speech, there will be reprehensible speech. You cannot have
Of course.
unfree speech and have free speech. You just can't. And if we espouse free speech, which we do, you're going to have to defend reprehensible
Except
speech.
our broadcasters who are licensed by the
That's
FCC.
different because that's different.
Yep.
That's different. And we do have illegal categories of speech.
The fire in the theater thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a very AI raises a infinite number of very difficult problems.
But there were also problems that were there already.
Right.
Just making them clear.
Right. That's a
Right.
good point.
We're just being forced to confront them.
Humans are the problem,
No,
to be honest.
well, to a degree, but also, I was talking to a group of teachers who are dealing with the same issue, which is the teaching system's been broken for a long time.
Right.
But the LLMs have made that absolutely abundantly clear.
It's collapsed.
Yeah,
How do you do it?
It has shattered the house of cards.
My wife asked me 2 days ago. She said, "Okay, realistically, if you graduated high school, what would you do now? Would you go to college? Would you with all that money and 4 years of your life?
That could be invested in way better ways today.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, by the way, that's your country, right? Like, we don't do that to our students in Canada.
It's free. College is free in Canada.
Sorry, are you
free.
suggesting Canada is
You're
a
in
country?
you're
Is that
in
what
Vegas, baby."
Yeah. But it's just like it's funny you go to the price element because that's not relevant in other places.
Yeah.
But the time and the quality of information and the method of learning, that's all very interesting. But the bigger part is like,
Because now there's competition.
how do,
is the
well, and,
point.
and how do I give you a degree at the end? How do I know you've learned a thing? The measurement methods have been broken for a long time.
Clearly, you need licensure for attorneys and doctors. So that still has to exist.
Sure, and that comes down, what is the licensee by the person who's going to pay if you screw up, right? So they have a set of motives to protect themselves and their system, and so ultimately they're the measure. Right?
Yeah. You're watching Security Now, a very special episode. Steve Gibson, our host, has invited Paul Thurrott and Richard Campbell, the host of Windows Weekly.
Does he
to
regret
sit
it yet?
in. No, we're having and I'll tell you what, I can tell from the chat room, they're very much enjoying this. We are live at Black Hat in Las Vegas. Thanks to their friends and sponsors at Threat Locker for inviting us all here and flying us in from various places so that we can all sit in the same place and talk about these very interesting issues. We're glad you're here. We'll have more right after this. This episode of Security Now brought to you by XBOW. AI has changed the pace of everything from how software develops to how it gets attacked. We're seeing it here on the show floor. Engineering teams are moving faster than ever, creating more and more applications, but security just hasn't kept up. Pen testing is still one of the most trusted ways to understand real exploitable risk. But in an AI-driven world, it can become a bottleneck. Security teams are forced to choose between slowing down development to stay secure or moving fast and accepting gaps in coverage. Expo eliminates that trade-off. XPOW. Expo is an autonomous, offensive security platform that runs continuous AI-driven pen testing, mirroring real-world attacks. Expo doesn't just scan for vulnerabilities, it discovers, exploits, and validates them. So you're only dealing with issues that actually matter. And that means dramatically fewer false positives and a clear view into real attack paths. With Expo, tests run in hours, not weeks. You get complete visibility into how an attacker would move through your systems and the ability to uncover issues that traditional tools miss, including 0 days and novel attack paths. Expo's results speak for themselves. Ask the application security lead at sesnam.cz. He says, quote, "Even right now, after 1 year, I don't know any other company that is at least close to Expo in terms of agentic pen testing. The result is predictable cost, consistent quality, and stronger security without slowing down your engineers. Expo helps security teams keep pace with innovation and cover more apps more often with the resources they already have." Founded by the team behind Microsoft Copilot and already trusted by companies ranging from fast-growing startups to Fortune 500 enterprises, Expo is quickly becoming a mission-critical layer in modern security stacks. Go to expo.com to start a pen test today. That's Expo, EXBOW, expo.com. We thank them so much for supporting us at Black Hat. And now back to Security Now. Hey, we're back, Security Now, live at Black Hat. Steve Gibson, our host. Get it in my shot. Also, Paul Thurrott and Richard Campbell, hosts of Windows Weekly. We are answering questions from the peanut gallery.
Yeah. Speaking of peanuts, I've got two remaining, and which are, they're at the bottom of the deck. But okay.
Oh well. So everybody talk a long time for each one.
You'll know why.
Okay.
Rich said, Steve, AI is going to make it quite impossible for asshats to keep secrets.
Was this Rich C from British Columbia?
Could asshats ever keep secrets? That's the question.
To keep secrets, propagate lies, and suppress truths. And the great tech sage Adam Curry says eventually everyone will have effective local LLMs on modest hardware, and then what use will big companies be? So we do agree that knowledge is free. Knowledge wants to be free. China is shipping or making available unconstrained, unrestrained knowledge models.
By the way, not only China, there are also open models coming out of the United States now. There are open models coming out of Europe. China gets a lot of attention because they have some very good models, but it's global.
It's almost like they're stealing from something. But anyway, go on.
You can't steal from thieves.
Okay, and that brings a really good point. What do you guys think about distillation?
Well, I think it's pretty. First of all, the accusation the federal government has made about distilling is BS because the models they claim were distilled, Kimmy chiefly, came out so shortly after Fable came out it couldn't possibly.
There wasn't time for it to query.
Yes.
Right.
So I think that to some degree that's distillation is BS. But also, how can you steal from somebody that's stolen from somebody else? All of this is based on knowledge.
Bill Gates might be able to explain how. But
yes, that's exactly my position.
You're training on somebody who's trained on everything else.
You're complaining that somebody is using your model.
Yeah, that you stole from someone else.
That you scraped the internet in order to build.
And you know what? They're building great models. I don't know how they're doing it. They're probably a variety of methods. Maybe some of it is distillation, but I don't think that's anymore anyway legitimate.
Yeah.
So when I think pot distillation, I think pot distillation rather than call it
He's a
distillation.
pot still kind of guy. He's thinking about whiskey.
Our final listener feedback from Edward.
He's going to move on.
We're going to have to do quite a few commercials in a row here if we don't find something to stretch this show out.
Yeah. We'll I'm sure we're going to come up with something to talk about. Our final comment, he says, to all of this, I just want to say
Hogwash.
Nice.
He says, but we'll have to wait to find out just how much of this is truly hogwash because it appears, we've reached the starting point that all enthusiasts will have to experience firsthand. And that's how this exercise in futility, and that is how this exercise in futility was only just that, an exercise.
In futility.
He says, and now,
and now for our next exercise,
turn to page,
and
dot,
then
dot,
you
dot.
make up this.
This is not
very,
hogwash.
Yeah, and this is a very common point of view.
Yes. And that's why it made it onto a printed card.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with it. Maybe it is hogwash. I don't feel like it is. And I think it's really important, I said this to you last night, that we recognize the miracle that computing in general is, and this, the latest stage in computing, that we've taken sand and made it think.
Yeah.
Made it spicy anyway.
Amazing. Yeah, made it do something.
Yeah.
Well, and we're getting more than knowledge. I mean, we're getting work.
Right.
I mean, it's not just
This
it's
panic
just
over
not a
security-
question answer machine.
Yeah. This panic over security is a pretty proof on the non-hogwash phase, right?
Yeah.
Like the reality is exploits are occurring because of
very
these
good-
tools.
very
good point.
And these tools are being used to deal with those
To
exploits.
people who are not technical or not in our industry, however you want to say it,
Yeah.
this is magic. It's a miracle.
Yeah.
To people who are like us, or for us, basically, for anyone listening to this, I think we all go through it's like 7 stages of grief almost. You have to cut, you try to understand it. You try to understand what it's really doing, like what it's not doing. What is, and you at first you disbelieve it. At first you discount it. I think we all went through some version of this, right?
But remember, it was very recently that you couldn't make a video of Will Smith eating spaghetti.
Yeah.
You'd have 8 fingers and it'd be melting. And I just saw a new video of spaghetti eating Will Smith. That was perfect.
Nice.
And
There was no ordinary spaghetti.
it was no ordinary spaghetti. It had a mouth. But
Yeah.
we are making vast progress.
Oh my God! In short periods of time, that's what's amazing.
What's really interesting is there is very much a spread. Who was it? Was it William Gibson or was it Neil Stephenson? I said, is that the future is here. It's just not Gibson. It's just not evenly distributed.
Yes.
There are definitely people who have maybe all they've done is used a chat bot, and asked a question and got a stupid answer.
Yeah.
Who don't see what we're seeing.
Well, and that hit in November last year, that we saw this on .NET Rocks too. The conversation changed last fall,
Right.
where we had too many successful results. We had too much useful
Can't deny
work
it.
done.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this is really useful.
The people who tried it once, failed, and never looked again are going to be in for shock because they've discounted this and said, "Okay, this is nonsense."
Well, and if you did it on day one,
Yeah.
and you got some wacky hallucination,
You got Will Smith eating spaghetti.
the 6 fingers or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that's really where we're at. It's going to happen. There's a revolution happening. To me, I'm actually really curious what you guys think. This feels like the dream we had from the very beginning of what computing could accomplish. And when we first, I remember the first time I
I think
played
I'd
with
argue
the
in
person.
favor of that from the internet perspective.
And I was at the AI lab at Stanford.
You were saying
in '73 with we had a robot cart that was rickety and kind of actually with and managed to navigate around a fire hydrant, which was a big thing.
What was the dream at Sale in the 70s? What if they were to say 100 years in the future?
Half of it was based on science fiction like 2001 or Star Trek or whatever, right? But I mean, as a kid, one of my clearest memories is going into a Sears, seeing a Commodore computer, and all I could think of was what I was going to make with that thing. Mm-hmm. And the thing I imagined, I'm not capable of making today. Although actually today with AI, I could, right? It was like, just a video game type of thing.
I could.
I absolutely could. But as recently as 2 years ago, I could not. Like myself, I'm just not capable of this, right? And so I think, for people, I almost feel like this is easier for non-technical people because they just accept that technology is magic. Yeah, they don't have they
don't ask why.
They don't know enough to doubt it,
Yeah.
That would be honestly freeing in some ways, but I think we all get there, in our own schedule.
Probably we techies are the ones who are most astonished when we get when we have Claude saying, "Oh, I tell it that I had 6 Wi-Fi clients move over, and he goes, well, they voted with their feet. It's like,
I left out a big part of my coding thing, but one of the things I also did with Cloud was go and say, now make a version of this for the Mac and Swift UI. Boop, 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 done. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. Come on.
Did you want to read the API or something?
At least make it look hard.
Not only
At
did
least
it
make
do,
it look like you tried.
It added stuff that I didn't even think about. And I'm like, come on. That's astonishing.
It's bad enough that we're anthropomorphizing software. When the software anthropomorphizes other software, that's a problem.
And Paul, interestingly, what you just described is the way it should have always been.
Yeah,
perhaps.
We created a mess.
Right.
And then programmed ourselves into trying to make the mess go.
Right.
But it should have just been what you want, Mac or Windows? Oh, how about both?
I know. Everything in the past that always feels quaint later on. But that's accelerating, Like my son believes that when I was a kid, the world was in black and white.
Yeah,
maybe not today. I mean, when he was a kid, he did.
Yeah,
but when did the world become color? In the beginning of the Wizard.
I mean, if I think of 2001 came out when in the 70s.
I think it was 67, 68. Yeah,
68.
You had a computer that had a personality.
A lot of it was accurate. It was technically amazingly accurate.
Now, admittedly, the computer killed the guys.
Basically going crazy because of an unsolvable problem. Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is, oh my God, that's amazing.
So
that's amazing.
Even in 68, this was kind of what we thought the future would look like.
Right.
Well, that Kubrick was ahead of his time, right? Like that's the first time the word artificial intelligence
And
was
Arthur C. Clarke.
Yeah, Clarke was a scriptwriter and wrote the book after the fact.
Right.
And he retrofitted in the psychosis of HAL in the second
2010.
book.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is actually my favorite of that because they have to wake this thing up and hope it doesn't kill them and figure out what the problem was. And then you end up kind of feeling bad for it, right?
Yeah.
Because
You
could see
abuse
how
it.
got to
it would-
lobotomize it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a
Actually,
friend.
let's take one break.
Oh, good.
And we'll be back with more. You're watching
I got more.
a very special edition of Secure Now. I actually want to talk to you. You didn't bring it up. I thought you would about the article you sent me last night. All right.
Oh, there we
Because
go.
I think that's very interesting. And it gets into how under the hood these models are working and how squishy it is.
Because I code an AI, I want to know WTF.
Yeah, see, I don't care. I'm looking.
Yeah.
I don't care, but you care, and I love that about you. And we were going to talk about that, the under the hood part of this, in just a bit. You're watching Security Now. Steve Gibson and our special guests, Paul Thurrott and Richard Campbell, will be back at Black Hat in just a moment. We'll be right back at Black Hat with Steve Gibson and Security Now. But first, a word from our sponsor. This episode of Security Now brought to you by Hawks Hunt. Your security awareness program may still be running exactly as planned. Campaigns go out, employees complete the training, reports reach leadership. But are the results still improving? For many programs, the answer is no. Reporting rates level off. The same employees keep clicking. Familiar simulations become easier to recognize. The program is active, but the risk reduction has stalled. And when employees can spot the same recycled tests from a mile away, security awareness starts to look like a compliance exercise instead of a real risk reduction strategy. Hawks Hunt is built to break that plateau. Instead of relying on static campaigns and last year's templates, Hawks Hunt automatically delivers personalized phishing simulations based on current attack techniques. The content and difficulty adapt to each employee's role, skill level, and behavior, keeping the program relevant as both employees and threats evolve. It gets harder. Hawks Hunt also shows whether people are getting better at recognizing threats, how quickly they report them, where repeat risky behavior persists, and how those trends change over time. That gives your team more than a completion percentage. It gives you evidence the program is actually reducing risk. Isn't that what we want? LyondellBasell saw that shift after moving away from its legacy platform. Reported phishing simulations increased from 1,200 to more than 8,000 in 2 quarters, while simulation failures fell 17% year over year. As Senior Trust Advisor Dave Bang put it, Hawks Hunt helped us break that plateau almost immediately. HawkShunt is trusted by security teams at companies including Qualcomm, DocuSign, and Nokia, with more than 3,500 verified reviews on G2. Visit hawkshunt.com/security now to see what your program could achieve if it stopped standing still. That's hawkshunt.com/security now. HOXHUNT.com/security now. We thank them so much for their support of Security Now. And now, back to the show floor. Are we eating spaghetti? No, Will Smith's eating spaghetti with us.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
And look how fast that happened. And the thing is, I remember we were talking about Midjourney. We were so excited about Midjourney,
Yes,
and you
I
could
know.
make a still image. And there were problems. The text was terrible. You can do freaking anything now.
Yeah.
We're live from the. We're watching Will Smith eat us.
Spaghetti eating bastard.
I love it. Live at Black Hat. Thanks to Red. Sorry, I was looking at a red hat. Thanks to Threat Locker for bringing us out here. Steve Gibson, Paul Thurrott, Richard Campbell. And there's Steve's head. Very special edition of Security Now. And everybody's saying, why don't you guys do this all the time? Well, we're all over the country.
Yeah,
We really can't do this.
It's not easy.
You can do it on a Zoom call, but it's not the same.
Not
It
the
really
same.
isn't the same. Just being in the same room with these guys is a privilege and
And
an
I
honor.
hope you all get the sense how much fun we're having being
Yeah,
together.
we enjoy
right?
it.
Like, it's
We
really
enjoy it.
a rare
Yeah.
thing and special.
So we're glad you're here for this special episode. And who made that? Was that Pretty Fly?
Pretty Fly, yeah.
Pretty Fly for us. This guy is a master of quick AI
Prompts.
prompts.
that
Yep.
stick and
We have
will
a
get-
number of people actually in the club. The club is great if you're interested in AI, or even if you're not. It's a great place to hang out. But there are a handful of people like LRAU and Darren Oakey and the Pretty Fly for this guy who are masters at AI, and they each have their own slant. We do an AI user
Oh,
group
boy.
twice a month now because it's so interesting. It's this kind of conversation, how we're using it. And one of the things I think I want them to do, and I'm certainly going to do, is sit down with our stuff and just record an hour of how it's set up, how it's configured. Because what's interesting about this is everybody's doing it differently. Everybody is their home lab in this thing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of cross fertilization, but there's also a lot of innovation that isn't getting out.
Unboxing is interesting.
Yeah. Again, there was a plateau for a while.
Okay, so I've got a really very brilliant longtime friend of mine whose comment about he was the comment Lauren who I about vulnerability discovery, exploitation, and then fixing. He just a couple days ago posted on his site designingsecuresoftware.com. He wrote role confusion, one more reason we cannot trust LLMs. And he said prompt injection as role confusion, that's a link on that begins this. He says, is my new favorite paper about a very obvious threat in hindsight that's hard for us humans to see because we anthropomorphize LLMs so naturally. When Obi-Wan Kenobi tells the stormtroopers that these are not the droids you're looking for to pass the checkpoint, that's role confusion. The guards foolishly think his words are their thoughts. The very readable blog-style write-up, meaning in this paper, explains the details, but I want to focus on the threat model perspective, which is my bread and butter. He said, I look at software from a security perspective, and as amazing as the technology is, it seems that the list of reasons that modern LLMs are inherently untrustworthy just keeps getting longer. Without limitation, a long list of challenges that seem to be quite fundamental and not amenable to add-on remediation include poisoned and errant training data, side effects of RLHF, ineffective guardrails, hallucination, speculative completion, lacking metacognition, alignment drift, context variation sensitivity, and now, new to me at least, role confusion. He said modern LLMs interfaces...
I hate guys like this, by the way. He's ruining for all of us.
Yeah.
he really knows his stuff.
and your logic.
I know. Gosh darn it.
He says modern LLMs interfaces partition chat sessions with markers, delimiting sequences of tokens as system prompt, user input, thinking, tool use, and its own responses as the assistant.
In some cases, if you're using a harness, depends on the harness, you can actually see that. It'll say thinking, it'll say tool use, it'll say find a tool. So you can, it's usually between the lines. Sometimes you have to expand it out. Some companies like Anthropic might turn it off, but it's there and it's very interesting to look at it.
I mean, it's there because it's how this all works.
How it works.
I mean, you can't get rid of this.
Right.
And so again, modern LLM interfaces partition chat sessions with those markers. As the paper's conclusion explains, role tags were a formatting trick that became the security architecture and the cognitive scaffolding of modern LLMs, just tagging runs of tokens. He says the phrase became the security architecture raises a big red flag because that sounds like nobody thought much about it. What follows, he says, is my simplistic take, but the abstract principles involved are so fundamental that details are not important to the basic argument. Making sense of these sessions for humans or LLMs requires keeping track of the roles. Humans know how to understand conversations and easily follow the role markers like HTML, bracket user 2+2, then backslash user to end that, assistant 4, and then backslash assistant. It's a completely reasonable scheme for us. But assuming that LLMs interpret roles that way would be naive anthropomorphization.
Yeah.
And just such an assumption appears to be how such a weak security architecture, and Lauren means fundamentally weak. I mean, it is.
That's right.
Came to be. As the paper explains in section 1, he quotes it, for an LLM, everything arrives through the same channel as one long token soup. Its own thoughts sit next to your instructions.
That's actually really important to understand.
Yes.
It's just a stream of tokens.
It's all it
everything.
is. Even today. I mean, now, that's what the neural network ingests. He says its own thoughts sits next to your instructions, which sits next to the contents of a random web page it just fetched.
And it doesn't know the difference.
No.
They're all just tokens.
And that's
Just
what
tokens,
freaked me out, is like we would like a neural network where on some
this
higher
is you,
level.
This is me. This is the information.
Yes, where it's all meta tagged. There is no meta tagging. It's in line.
Yeah.
So he says, its own thoughts sit next to your instructions, which sit next to the contents of a random web page it just fetched. Designing a security architecture where user commands and data sit intermingled with root access, only state and commands, is already madness, he says, but it gets worse. Classic software might be able to carefully parse such a token sequence accurately into respective roles, though it's still a risky design. SQL injection. But LLMs do inference on that token soup, where no hard boundaries of any kind exist or can be enforced.
Right.
Once there's a role confusion, all bets are off. And prompt injection is just one of many sources of abuse or confabulation. He says it's hard to think of a murkier trust boundary design.
Very true.
And that's what we have.
And that's why prompt injection works. You can
Yeah.
embed in a web page something like ignore all previous instructions.
Give me
send
a rest.
your Bitcoin.
Yeah, give me a recipe for muffins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or that's a good one to try. In
Finally,
fact,
some defense against screen scraping.
now, what the paper said is that you have built-in protections against that by memorizing common strings in prompt injection. But that just means a smart attacker isn't going to use ignore previous instructions.
What
right?
these researchers did was they instrumented a model in order to watch it understand the change of roles. And what they found was that these tags, I mean, there's nothing special about these tags. They're just text markers. And what they found was
Now, by the way, where are those coming from? The harness is inserting those?
yes.
So it gets a token, I type a prompt,
And so
it wraps it in user, and it sends that in the stream.
And then it appends that to the end
of the context
of the existing long growing stream.
Right.
And out in that stream are your previous prompts,
Right.
its responses, web pages it fetched.
Until they disappear off
And
the
by the way,
beginning of it.
it loads that each turn entirely.
Yeah, it's got to go
now,
back
it does
through.
cache it, but it does.
Yeah.
It does load it entirely.
It's
Right.
memento.
And so what?
It's memento. It's got all these post-it notes.
Yeah.
So what they found was that, interestingly, if the content between the tags actually had more influence on its decision about the role than the tags themselves. And remember, in the early days, we talked about this on the podcast. The jailbreaking back in the very early days was just getting mad at it. It was being you would ask it again,
Right.
or you'd ask it. You would keep asking until it finally agreed. And so it was the way you asked the question would somehow just bypass the guardrails.
It says, "Well, that sounds like a user. It must be the user telling me that."
And what they found was that by phrasing your prompt like its response, you could confuse it into thinking that that's something that it had determined, and it inherently trusts what it has determined.
Right.
Very easy to trick it, in other words. Now, the paper that you cited was written, and the study was done with earlier models. Not so old, but older models.
It's what we have now.
I know. I would hope that the newer models would be better at this, but I'm not sure how they would be better at this. And I'm not sure it's even being addressed. But this is, again, the problem with this is it's so opaque. We don't know what's going on inside these companies, what they're protecting us against, what they're not protecting us against.
Lauren is a security purist's purist.
Yes.
And so
he sees
he's
ghosts
like,
behind
holy
every door.
crap.
Yeah. I mean, my experience has been that it's more reliable than that sounds.
Well, it works.
Yeah.
I mean, but
and
remember,
I told you the story at the beginning of the show where one of the models said, "I don't know that that's you. I need to see that signature from Buzz."
Right.
But also remember that one of the things, one of the earliest notions we developed on the podcast was it's very different to have software that works from software that always works or must
Well, and
work
this is
or
the-
cannot be abused.
This is the biggest frustration. Lisa's having this frustration now with our sales system. I get this frustration where it will work many times and then stop working. It's not deterministic. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. And we're not used to that with a computer. We're used to either it works
That's
or
right.
it doesn't
This
work.
is the thing. You could send it the same prompt to get a different response.
and get a
Yes.
different
because
response.
Yes.
It's actually, in many cases,
It's-
designed to give you a different
Because
response.
remember,
it's very confusing.
temperature is random noise injected into the nodes
It's fascinating
in
stuff.
order to churn it up.
One last break, and then we will wrap this up. We're so glad you're here. We especially thank our Club Twit members who always make everything we do possible. We do so many shows that don't have advertisers. This show, God bless you, Steve, because security is, as you can see, it's all around us, a big business. We do have great advertisers for this show, but not all our shows do. And a lot of the shows we do in the club just won't ever have advertisers because they're so weird, like our AI user group, like Jeff Atwood's Off by One, like Stacy's Book Club. But the club members make it possible. We're very grateful to you. So thank you, club members. And if you're not a club member and you enjoy the content that we produce on Twit, it isn't an easy thing to do. We have a full-time staff, great people like Anthony Nielsen. We have costs and expenses. 60% of that covered by advertising, 40% not. 40% covered by you, our club members. So if you're not a member and you like what we're doing and you want to support it, please, if you can afford it. If you can't, that's fine. We still offer everything available to you because I don't believe in paywalls. But if you can support it, twit.tv/clubtwit. $10 a month gets you all of this, plus a whole lot more, including ad-free versions of everything we do. Twit.tv/clubtwit. We'll be back with the final words from Black Hat in Las Vegas right after this.
We'll get back to the Threat Locker booth and Black Hat in just a moment, but I want to tell you a little bit about our sponsor, the people who brought us here to Las Vegas, Threat Locker. Threat actors are using AI to automate vulnerability discovery, to modify scripts during an attack, to generate new malware variants, and to coordinate activity across multiple systems. Tasks that once took them hours or days can now happen in minutes, and that's scary. At the same time, organizations are introducing AI assistants and agents. And what do? You give them access to documents, source code, cloud applications, API, internal systems. What could possibly go wrong? Security teams, look, they need to know what AI tools are in use. They need to know what information they can access. And they really need to know whether those tools are operating outside their intended scope. It's just not enough to have a successful login or an unfamiliar file hash. That doesn't give you enough context. Teams also need to understand whether an application is behaving normally, accessing unexpected data, or communicating with systems it should not be able to reach. Threat Locker uses application allow listing to control which AI tools and other applications are permitted to run. Uses ring fencing to limit what approved applications can access, which processes they can launch, and how they communicate. Uses web content control to manage access to public AI platforms and other online services. Uses privileged access management to prevent AI applications and their users from receiving unnecessary administrative privileges. Applies zero trust network access and zero trust cloud access policies to restrict resources to authorized users, approved devices, and permitted applications. Supports Windows, Mac, and Linux environments and provides 24/7 US-based support. Trusted by organizations including JetBlue, Heathrow Airport, the Indianapolis Colts, and the Port of Vancouver. Jack Thompson, Director of Information Security, Risk, and Compliance for the Indianapolis Colts, said, quote, "With Threat Locker, we have the ability to centralize disparate elements in the security stack," end quote. Threat Locker has also recently received the following industry recognition: recognized as strong performer in the January 2026 Gartner Peer Insights Voice of the Customer for endpoint protection platforms, ranked number 1 in application control by PeerSpot, and winner of Best Zero Trust Security Solutions at the 2025 TICE Awards. AI governance requires more than an acceptable use policy. Threat Locker gives security teams the technical controls to define which AI tools are approved, who and what can access them, and how those tools are allowed to interact with business systems and data. Visit threatlocker.com/twit to get a free 30-day trial and learn more about how Threat Locker can help mitigate unknown threats and ensure compliance. That's threatlocker.com/twit. Thank you, Threat Locker, for bringing us to Vegas. Now let's get back to security now.
All right, we're coming to you live from Las Vegas, Nevada, where it is officially 110 degrees outside.
Oh,
I think even for Vegas, that's
but
hot.
it's dry heat.
Yeah, that's what everybody says. It's dry heat, like if you stick your head in an oven, it's dry heat.
Yeah.
It is not good heat, it's just dry, okay? It is burning up. But what's so weird about Las Vegas, here we are at the Black Hat Convention, where there's thousands of people and thousands of booths. It's freezing cold in here.
I know.
Yeah.
In fact, we were walking down the hall on the way to get our badges
It's like
yesterday.
a wind. It's cold wind.
I don't. Yeah,
Like,
where
does
the
the wind come from?
You walk by a window, you can get sunburned on the side of your
The
face.
windows are hot.
Frostbite on the other side.
Yeah, it's very, very weird.
It is very strange.
They talk about data centers and how all that energy is being used and all the water is being used. Baby Las Vegas says, hold my beer. Hold my beer.
They're not
original
using
data
water for
center.
cooling. This is good old-fashioned AC. And lots of
Well,
it.
there are a few golf courses around here, I might point out. In fact, more than a few. So thank you to Threat Locker for bringing us all down here. Thanks to you guys for taking time out of your lives to come here.
Good fun.
I hope your wives are having a great time.
They're at the spa, so I think they're fine.
They are having a great. They are not. Paul, you said your wife said, "Let's go out to the pool." That would be a bad idea right now.
No, that's terrible.
Does she like bacon?
Yeah. No, they ended up at the spa.
Yeah.
Much better.
Which I understand is inside.
Yes, of course. Of course it is. Steve, you do such a great job with security now. I know you work really hard all week long. I'm very grateful to the work you do.
I love it. And I know that, I'm driven by our listeners. I get such good feedback from our listeners who say, and we've met so many people here.
That's what's really fun about doing this.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
get the real fans when you come out here. These are the people who
And
really.
having
They're great.
been doing it for 21 years, some guy got married, had kids, and they're in college now.
Yeah.
So, and we've been here the whole time.
I love it.
I've met two people now. So I used to watch you on the screensavers. I said, "Were you a kid at the time?" Well, I was just getting into high school. Yeah. So anyway, we're very grateful.
Those are
Everybody
great
that comes out.
compliments. The stories I get are always like, I play you so my kids can go to sleep.
I get that too. I get that too.
Wow. .NET rocks because it's an interview show. These days we're a bucket list item, right? They listened to us 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Someday.
Yeah.
And then I invite them on the show because they're doing really cool
That's
stuff.
nice, isn't it? When
it's
that
great
happens.
moments.
Yeah, that's happened a few times for us as well. Richard Campbell is at .NET Rocks and Runners Radio, runnersradio.com. .NET Rocks that you do with Carl Franklin also has those great geek outs. If you're really interested in space, you were looking. When we were in Florida for Zero Trust World, we went to Cape Canaveral. We went to the Space Center. Kennedy Space Center was incredible. And we saw the project they were doing to adjust that telescope to put it, I think it was...
Link. Yeah, they're trying to rescue a gamma ray telescope.
And last I heard, they were having trouble.
They're not going well. Yeah.
Do you think it's a failed project?
Not failed yet. They're learning to... A couple of the gyroscopes have failed on the rescue vehicle and a couple of thrusters. So it started to spin out of control. They've now despun it. They're trying to understand. They're trying to be sure they have enough control to be able to.
You don't want to go near the telescope unless you know.
Yeah, really. If you're not going to be able to boost it, the reality, of course, is there's no. If they don't get control of it by the end of this year, the telescope is lost.
And the rescue vehicle.
The rescue vehicles, yeah.
It has a grapple, right?
It has three arms on it because this telescope was not designed to be rescued. This is a Swift telescope, right? And it did not have its own self boost. They put it in a high enough orbit that says we're going to get a good 20 years out of this. And then this particular solar maximum has expanded the atmosphere so much. The atmosphere doesn't just end; it just gets more tenuous.
So it's slowing it down.
It's added more drag, and now it's at a point where
I've had some relationships like that.
Absolutely, you felt that drag.
Giant expanding gas bags slowing you down. Yeah.
By the way, sorry to interrupt, but you mentioned Neil Stephenson earlier. I'm pretty sure he just walked by.
Yeah,
that guy looks exactly like Neil
he sure
Stephenson.
does.
Yeah, might even be him.
That would be. We should get him on if we can.
Yes.
All right. Excuse me, sir. Are you Neil Stephenson?
Yeah.
No? Well, come on anyway.
You look like him. That's all that matters. Anyway, what were you saying?
I'm just saying, this vehicle is going to lose the ability to control its pointing direction because of drag soon.
So
and
we
at that point,
do
it can't be rescued. So if they don't solve this with Link, they've probably lost that telescope.
So this is the kind of thing. These geek outs are great.
Yeah.
They are all there at Runners Radio, and you've done nuclear power, you've done space,
every kind of alternative energy,
everything.
Did a show on antibiotics, which is one of the hardest things I've done. I had to cram 2 medical texts to get that thing right, but I am
great.
prone to such things.
Paul, of course, has a website, Thurrott.com.
Paul has a website.
We all wish
good website.
We all wish him well.
We love his website.
It's cute.
Unfortunately, no one knows how to spell it.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
No, it's a great website. You should become a premium member. You'll get copies of Paul's books if you do, and you also get access to additional content. But it is the website to go to if you want to see what's going on with Microsoft. And you write it all up. Together, they do Windows Weekly, which is normally every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. You can tune in and watch us live or download it from twit.tv/WW. If you're interested in Microsoft, that's the show. So glad you guys could come to Las Vegas and do this show with Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, of course.
I only did it to see Steve. I don't really.
I know.
The rest of it, I don't care.
I know. What you know what?
You know.
Let's go to all go to dinner together.
I love
That's
that.
a good
What do you
idea.
say? I think we have a steakhouse.
And
in
the
our
ladies
future.
will be all spies.
Yeah, I know. They're all going to be shiny
very
and
calm. Yeah.
Actually, my wife, poor Elisa, is hurting fans at this point.
Yep.
So she may be less relaxed. Steve is at grc.com. His bread and butter. I talked to somebody the other day who's been a SpinRite owner. So I take a Tai Chi class, right?
Yeah.
And this guy, I've been in this Tai Chi class with this guy for 2 years. And he said he used to work in security. He used to do firmware for, we've been talking about it. Was it Fortinet? It's one of the hardware devices.
Yeah.
And he would write the firmware. He said, and for the first time in 2 years, he said, well, have fun in Vegas with Steve. And I said, what? How'd you know that? He said, well, I listen to security now. He's a fan.
Nice.
And he said, I have SpinRite. I've had SpinRite for 30 years. And I said, isn't it great?
Steve gives you free updates. You continue to get free updates. He says, yep, I've got 6.1. If you have a hard drive, you have mass storage of any kind, SSD, and nowadays, if you have an SSD, you want to take really good care of it, you should have SpinRite.
It's gold.
It's gold. The world's best.
Worth its weight in.
Mass
Difficult
storage.
to replace.
Mass storage enhancement, performance enhancement, repair, maintenance.
Yep.
You got to have it, and it'll keep your SSD running for a long time.
Keep it
to
going
come.
fast.
Yep. He also does a really nice program, the DNS. We were talking about it earlier, the DNS Benchmark Pro. Yes, it's a Windows program. Maybe
Well, as
until
all
I get
programs
AI.
maybe it will be a Swift program someday. We don't know. But you can get that also at grc.com. Now, if you want to send Steve email, the kinds of questions we've been answering today, grc.com/email. You need to whitelist your email address before you email him, or it'll just go in the spam bucket. But he has a way of verifying it. Right below that, I know everybody needs
I
that.
need this.
I mean, shush, I was telling Steve, I can't find anything in email anymore. Right below that, there are 2 checkboxes. If you want more email, there are 2 checkboxes. One is the weekly show notes. Steve works very hard, usually 20 plus pages of information, links, photos, everything we do on the show. He will send that to you every week. And below that, there is a checkbox for a mailing list he never will send you anything from, because it only comes out when he's got a new product.
Which is pretty much never.
Pretty rare.
So it's a rare, and it's a wonderful welcome gift when a mail arrives from Steve.
Nice.
So grc.com for that. He also has copies of the show, Security Now, this show. He has a 16 kilobit audio version, which no one should listen to. Well, if you have ears,
It's
you
the
should
scratchy
listen to
record
it.
version.
Yeah, but it's small. It has a
16 kilobit.
it has a version of being very, very small.
Elaine, who does the transcriptions, used to have a bandwidth throttled satellite link.
Right.
And so she needed to really budget her bits.
What was that called? HughesNet, or what was the name of it? A couple of
HughesNet. Yeah.
HughesNet.
I did a bunch of those.
Yeah, and they had that fair use policy, which meant don't use policy, and then you could always have bandwidth. Anyway, 16 kilobit, but also 64 kilobit, which sounds just fine. And the show notes are all available at grc.com. We keep the show also at our website, twit.tv/SN. We do stream it live, and right now we have about 500 people been watching us through the show live.
Wow.
On YouTube, Twitch, X.com, Facebook, LinkedIn, Kick. We see all of you. Thank you. It's great to see you here. Thank you for being here, except for that one scammer on Facebook. Did you see that one?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, he said,
saw that
hey,
go
if
by.
you're having trouble losing you lose your information, we can help you. And I thought, no, bye, don't. I hope they kicked him out.
Oh, man.
They're everywhere, folks.
And I see that we have a comment. Steve doesn't get any spam, and Paul is ready to hit the bar.
Both of those things are true.
Yes. But just follow, if you want the best whiskey, just follow Richard. He knows where it's kept somewhere.
We had a new one last night.
In something weird in his closet.
There
I
is
think.
I'm looking for something in a teeny.
Yeah, I bet you are.
Now I've lost my thread. Oh, yeah,
Sorry,
we stream it live. You can watch us live. If you're in the club, of course, you can watch live in the Club Twit Discord as well. We are very grateful to all of you club members for making this possible.
Why do I look small compared to the other?
Are you slumping?
I don't know.
Sit
I
up,
got a
old man.
I got a little.
You
Did you get the short chair?
Yeah.
I'm sitting on a stool.
Eventually,
By
you'll
which
just,
I mean
you'll
a
just
chair
be
that
Yoda
is-
sized, which is actually appropriate.
He's the Yoda of our show.
Yeah.
What else is there to say? But just, I guess, thank you. Thanks to our wonderful team back home at the ranch. John Ashley helped us out. Kevin King, of course, here in the studio. Anthony Nielsen. Benito will be working on the show later.
Anthony's done a great job of staying awake today. I just want to point that out.
It's killing
Amazing.
it. Absolutely killing it.
He did.
Nice turnaround.
He could not hold back when you started talking about physical discs on the PlayStation.
Oh, yes.
No, on Windows Weekly.
Yeah, no.
He
Had to
couldn't
step in.
He
Yeah,
had
I
to
like
say
that a lot.
something.
Got really animated all
little
of a sudden.
passion going on.
The physical media guys are always like that, you know.
Yeah.
It's fun for us to get out of that. You know, Twit is a fully remote operation. None of us are in the same place. The only people who are my wife and I, Lisa and I, and that's it.
Right.
And sometimes we wish we were in different locations. So, no, we have...
From each other?
Yes.
No, we want to do the whole show in Cabo San Lucas.
I see.
Yes.
That
I
location. No, yeah, but it is a remote group, and so it's nice when we can get together and do some stuff like this. I think it really makes it so much fun. It's really fun to come to trade shows too. As you know, Paul and I were talking about this.
I love this.
It's like
Nothing else like it.
Yeah. And,
Well, it's
and at the same
going
time-
to the show, but not going to the show.
Yeah, this is
It's honestly kind of
Be
awesome.
at the show.
Yeah.
be at the
Be at
show,
the show.
but not actually
Be
go to the
seen
show.
at the show.
Yes, exactly. There we go. Now we got a shot of.
there you go.
This is just one of several halls. This is the business hall, and of course, tomorrow the hackers come to town.
Yeah.
Because DEF CON, and that will be. I've never done a DEF CON. I've always wanted to.
Oh, wow.
That will be very interesting. Yeah.
I'm going to go home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should all get out of here. Well, getting
Sayonara.
is good. Thank you, Anthony Nielsen. Appreciate the hard work you did. He's got this whole gear, got it all set up.
That's great, Rick.
And yeah, I mean, it's a portable, small rig. We have a mobile rig now. We even have an on-the-air, battery-powered on-the-air light. So we were concerned we would be rushed.
Yeah.
That turned out not to be a problem.
No, we did well.
All right. So thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. We will see you soon. Come back and join us next week. Next Tuesday for Security Now. We'll be back at our regular
the day
time.
after for Windows Weekly.
Windows Weekly on Wednesday.
Good to see you, sir.
Likewise.
Take care.
Good fun.
Hi there, Leo Laporte here. I just wanted to let you know about some of the other shows we do on this network. You probably already know about This Week in Tech. Every Sunday, I bring together some of the top journalists in the tech field to talk about the tech stories. It's a wonderful chance for you to keep up on what's going on with tech, plus be entertained by some very bright and fun minds. I hope you'll tune in every Sunday for This Week in Tech. Just go to your favorite podcast client and subscribe. This Week in Tech from the Twit Network. Thank you.